Hello and welcome to St Gabriel's Sunday School at Home. It's good that you can join us wherever you are. We're continuing our theme on women in the Bible, and today we're looking at Ruth. But what do we know about Ruth? Well, Ruth has got her own book in the Bible, and it's in the Old Testament. And there are 4 chapters in the book of Ruth. And the first chapter is Ruth and her mother-in-law. And they return to Bethlehem. Chapter 2, Ruth meets Boaz. Chapter 3, Ruth and Boaz at the threshing floor. And chapter 4, Ruth marries Boaz. But what does the name Ruth mean? In Hebrew, it means compassionate friend. My name is Kirsty, and that means follower of Christ. Do you know what your name means? Perhaps you'd like to find out. Let's watch this video about the story of Ruth.
God's story, Ruth. So part of God's story is about a woman named Ruth, and it begins like this. Ruth lived in a place called Moab and was married to a guy who was part of God's special family, the Israelites. A few years later, though, Ruth's husband died. Instead of returning to her family, which would have been expected, she stayed with Naomi, her husband's mom. Naomi tried to get Ruth to go back to her family in Moab, but Ruth wouldn't leave Naomi, no matter what. In fact, she wanted to go back to Israel with her. Ruth said, "Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God." So they both returned to Naomi's home in Bethlehem. Back then, though, it was hard for women to find work. Usually, they had to be taken care of by their husband or a dad. It's really hard to imagine that now, but Naomi and Ruth might not have even known how they'd survive. At first, to get food, Ruth went to the fields of a man named Boaz and followed his harvesters around. If they dropped anything, even just a piece of grain, she picked it up. This was called gleaning. Ruth worked from morning to night and barely even took a break. Boaz noticed. He told his workers to leave behind some extra grain for her to gather. When Naomi heard about this, she was overjoyed because Boaz was Naomi's relative and what's called a family redeemer. That meant that it was his responsibility to take care of his family. If anybody was going to rescue Ruth and Naomi, it was Boaz. Kids, we have a redeemer too. It's Jesus. He's the one who saves us. Anyway, this gave Naomi an idea. She told Ruth to put on her best clothes and perfume and then go to the place where Boaz was sleeping. Naomi said that once Boaz had gone to sleep, Ruth should lay down by his feet. Now, this may sound like a weird plan, but it was actually really brave. Ruth trusted Naomi and obeyed. When Boaz woke up, he was surprised. After all, someone was lying at his feet. That's not exactly a normal night. When Boaz asked who Ruth was, she said, "I am your servant. You are my family redeemer." Now Boaz understood. Ruth wanted Boaz to marry her so that she and Naomi would both be taken care of. Boaz agreed. This was a huge deal. Ruth wasn't an Israelite, but she wanted to follow God anyway. By marrying Boaz, she got to officially be part of God's family. In fact, Ruth's great-grandson was King David, and many, many years later, Jesus, the rescuer, was born into the same family line. Now, because of Jesus, we get to be a part of God's family too. So, in case you missed it, here's the quick version. Ruth was from Moab. Her husband died. Ruth was left with his mom, Naomi. Naomi told her to go home. Ruth said no. She went to Israel with Naomi. They needed someone to take care of them. Ruth gleaned in a field. Boaz noticed. He left extra grain for Ruth. Naomi made a plan. Ruth obeyed it. She wanted to marry Boaz. He agreed. Ruth became part of God's special family. And we can too. And that's a part of God's story.
Now, were you listening? I'm going to have a quiz, and I'm going to give you multiple choice, so it's a little bit easier. Question 1. What was Ruth's nationality? That's where was she from? Was she Egyptian? Was she a Moabite? Or was she a Philistine? Egyptian, Moabite or Philistine? A, B or C? The answer was B. She was a Moabite. Question 2. What was the relationship between Naomi and Ruth? Was it mother-in-law, daughter-in-law or cousin? Mother-in-law, daughter-in-law or cousin? The answer was 1, mother-in-law. Who was Ruth's first husband? Boaz, Elimelech, or Mahlon? The answer was Mahlon, and you can find that in Ruth chapter 1 verse 45. Now, why did Ruth go to the barley field? Was it to find a husband? Was it to glean? Or was it to find a job? The answer was to glean. And that's Ruth chapter 2 verse 2. Last question. What instruction did Naomi give Ruth concerning Boaz? Bit of a long question, that one. What instruction did Naomi give Ruth concerning Boaz? Wait for him on the threshing floor. Take food to him at his tent. I think that might be it. Kill him with a tent peg through the temple. The answer was wait for him on the threshing floor. And that's Ruth chapter 3 and verse 3. Wonder how you did, whether you got them all right. Well, I think there were a couple of points in that Ruth story. And I think Ruth chose to stay loyal to Naomi. She left her old life behind and chose to worship Naomi's God and be loyal to her adopted mother. And God wants us to be loyal to him and to loyal to those who love us. Now, our activity for this week is that I'd like us to do a random act of kindness. And I've had 2 acts of kindness appear at the vicarage. And one is this one. It just says, love this Lent. And it's something that's been made out of salt dough with a candle in it. And the other thing was some chocolates that appeared with a tag. And it says, random act of kindness, something to bring you joy. And that just appeared. Now, it could be a letter that you write. It could be some flowers. It could just be a little card. Or it could be something that you buy. Don't put your name on it, but it's just a little act of kindness. It could be that you do something at home. It could be that you make your bed without being asked. It could be that you put your plates in the dishwasher without being asked. Just a little act of kindness. Now, our prayer activity for this week involves 3 things. We're going to think of people who you love. Now, I want you to draw a heart, or if you've got any hearts, heart chocolates. Okay, and you're going to think of people that you love. Now, Naomi went on a journey in Ruth. So I want you to think of journeys that you've been on. Okay, so it might be that you've got a map, or I've got a car here, because we go on journeys in the car. You might go on car journeys. You might have some cars around, or little toy aeroplanes or things. So that's going to remind me to pray for people and pray for journeys that I've been on. Now, I've got a jigsaw piece here. This is to remind us of communities sticking together, especially at this time. So I've got my jigsaw piece for communities sticking together. I've got my heart for people that we love. And I've got my car for the journeys, just like Naomi and Ruth went on. Now that's the end of Sunday school for this week, but Monday's a big day for all of you as you start school again. Now I really hope that you settle back in. There may be some nerves, but rest assured you'll be fine. And I hope you have a really good day on Monday as you start back. Okay, God bless, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.